Hey everyone, and welcome. Look, we've all been there, right? A brilliant new strategy gets announced, the goals are super exciting, but then, day to day, it feels like nothing really changes. So today, we're going to dig into the most fundamental layer of making things happen, process architecture, and figure out how great strategies actually get put into practice.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You've got the big idea, you've put the money behind it, you know exactly what you want to achieve. But somehow, that amazing vision just gets lost in translation somewhere between the big meeting and the people doing the actual work. It's probably one of the most common and frustrating problems for any organization out there.
And this, right here, this is the heart of the issue. You've got this massive disconnect between the what, the strategic goals, and the how, the actual stuff people do every single day. It's like a giant canyon between the boardroom's vision and the reality on the ground. So the question is, how do we build a bridge across that canyon?
Well, you build that bridge by first pouring a rock-solid foundation. That gap we were just talking about, it exists because there's a critical structural layer that's often just missing. It's not a nice-to-have, it's not optional. It is the absolute bedrock of execution.
I absolutely love this metaphor because it's just so perfect. Trying to roll out new software, change people's roles, or set new performance goals without first defining how work gets done, it's literally like trying to build a skyscraper on sand. You're not just risking failure, you're pretty much guaranteeing chaos.
So this foundation, it has a name. It's called process architecture. And put simply, it's the official map of how your organization actually creates and delivers value. And I'm not talking about some vague flowchart somebody drew on a whiteboard once. This is the structured, documented blueprint for how work really gets done.
Okay, so to build this map, you can't just start drawing lines all over the place. You need a clear hierarchy, right? A blueprint that breaks down all the work in the entire organization into 4 logical, manageable levels. Let's take a look at what that structure looks like.
So this whole system is built on these 4 levels, and it cascades down from super broad to super specific. At the very top, you've got L0, the business domain. Think big picture, like public services. That then gets broken down into an L1 process group, like building permits. From there, we drill down even further to an L2 process category, and finally, we land on the good stuff. L3, the executable process, the actual task, like review site plans. All right, let's break these down one by one. All right, so starting at the very top, we have L0, the business domain. This is the 30,000-foot view. It's the broadest possible grouping of what your organization does. We're talking massive areas here, like public services or maybe national finance. Super high level. Then we take one step down to L1. This is the major process group. Think of it as a collection of related capabilities that all live inside that L0 domain. So if our L0 is public services, an L1 group inside of that might be building permits. It's still pretty broad, but you can see we're starting to get more focused. Next up is L2, the process category. This is a subgroup that describes a specific outcome. So within our building permits group, you'd find an L2 category for something like permit application processing. We're getting closer and closer to the actual work now. And finally, we hit the most important level of all, L3, the executable process. This is it. This is the real, trackable unit of work. It has a clear beginning and a definite end. So an example would be review site plans. This isn't just a concept. It's a specific job that someone actually has to do. So we've got these 4 levels to organize our map. But I want to be crystal clear about this next point. When it comes to actually getting things done, to turning that big strategy into reality, L3 is the only level that truly matters. It's everything. And I am not exaggerating here. Any big change you want to make, a digital transformation, an efficiency drive, you name it, it's going to succeed or fail right here, at the L3 level. This is where the rubber meets the road.
So why? What makes L3 so powerful? It's because it's the only level that's concrete enough to have these 5 critical things. You can give it a specific owner who is responsible for it. You can identify a clear performer who does the work. You can define exactly what inputs it needs and what outputs it produces. You can link it to the specific IT systems it uses. And, crucially, you can attach a real, tangible process metric to it.
Think about it this way. You can't just make someone the owner of a vague idea like building permits. I mean, who would that even be? The whole department? What would they even be responsible for? But you can absolutely make the lead planning officer the owner of the review site plans process.
See the difference? Now you have real accountability.
And because you have an owner for that L3 process, guess what? Now you can measure it. You can track the average days to review plans and hold that owner accountable for getting it down from, say, 15 days to 10. You just can't do that with a fuzzy L1 or L2 concept. This is where real performance management actually happens.
So after all this mapping and defining, what's the big payoff? What do you get for all this work? Well, it's a complete transformation. You move from the usual operational chaos and confusion to a state of real clarity, control, and empowerment for your entire team.
When it comes down to it, this is what you get. First, by defining these L3 processes, you create a single source of truth so everybody is on the same page, following the same playbook. Second, you give people clear roles and responsibilities, which cuts down on friction and actually empowers them to do their best work. And third, you make the whole operation auditable, which is huge for compliance and managing risk. You are systematically kicking ambiguity out the door and replacing it with clarity.
And I want to leave you with one final thought. This whole exercise isn't just about making better flowcharts. When you build this L3 process map, you're creating the living, breathing nervous system of your organization. It becomes the foundation for really advanced concepts, like creating a digital twin of your entire operation, which lets you simulate changes before you make them in the real world. It's not just about understanding how you work today. It's about building the capability to intelligently design how you're going to win tomorrow.